Hare Krishna. Welcome to the summary of chapter 1, which we went through this week in our Golok Gurukul class this Sunday at Slough Hindu Temple. Now in this video, let's try and get a hold of the entire first chapter for those who couldn't make it on Sunday and also for those who like a recollection of the chapter 1. But before we started this Bhagavad Gita journey during Navratri. So let's just chant Jai Mata Di together. Jai Mata Di. Chapter 1. The title of this chapter is Observing the Armies of Kurukshetra. Observing the armies on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. So this chapter is all about observations. It's about the way Arjun perceives the situation around him. Please remember, Arjun is not just Arjun. He is representative of all of us. Krishna is not speaking the Gita not only to Arjun, but through Arjun to all of us. So when Arjun is observing the armies, what technically is army? Good and bad people. Good side and the bad side. We are dealing with people. Some of them are good. Some of them are bad. We are dealing with people. Sometimes same person is good and bad. Good and bad is a part of our lives. So when Arjun is observing the armies, we are also observing the armies. We are also observing the two sides all around us. And Arjuna Vishada Yoga, Vishad means lamentation. Why the lamentation is yoga? Yoga is a positive. Where there is Vishad, that's lamentation. How is Arjuna's crying called yoga? Because Arjun is crying in front of Krishna. Anything that is done in connection with Krishna becomes yoga. When your tears help you connect with God, those tears become the source of yoga for you. And when your laughter helps you connect to God, the laughter becomes the source of yoga for you. So when your efforts and when you use your hands and legs to work for God, your efforts become yoga. Anytime you bring in an element of Krishna in life is called yoga. So how did this chapter start? Anybody remember what was the first word? This was also our shloka of the week. The first word was Dhritarashtra. Who is the Dhritarashtra? Dhritarashtra was a blind king. How many blind people you know? You know, there is so many people who are blind, which, we may know, everybody can have an example of, right? They just live their life purely based on their hearing and senses. The idea of connecting with the weakness is so important. It's just a part of life. All of us has some weaknesses. There are some people who knows how to use their weakness and make something good out of it. There are some people who do not allow their weakness to limit them. This man is called Ray Charles. He's an amazing musician, but blind. There's another person, a blind golfer, Charlie Boswell. And there are so many examples. There is a blind painter as well, who draws from their imagination. And one of the big name from our India is a gifted devotee. Can you guess who that is? It's Surdas Ji. In spite of his blindness, every day he goes to the darshan of the deities, and whenever he goes to have a darshan of Srinath Ji, interestingly, he composed a poem about the day's darshan, and people were astounded. How can a blind person compose a poetry about what a Lord is wearing? People actually began to have doubt about his blindness. One day, Pujaris decided to do something very strange. and decided not to put any dress on deities and to decorate the deities only with the flowers, and thinking if Surdas is doing the guesswork or not. Let's see if he can guess this one right. Surdas came and offered his prayers, and he can actually envision the Lord and having the darshan of the Lord, and composed a beautiful poem on how beautiful the Lord looks without any clothes. And he spoke about how the Lord today dressed in all four directions. When we see one direction, but Surdasi can see and vision the Lord in all four directions. The point here is Dhritarashtra being blind is not a problem. Being blind is not a problem at all. When you are blind and you use your blindness to your advantage, that's when it becomes a problem. In the sense, when your weakness is used as a tool to destroy somebody else. Dhritarashtra. Why is Dhritarashtra the first word of Gita? Because what is this word means? Dhrit means determination and Rashtra means land. His entire determination and his goal of life was to get the land rather get the property and be the king. That was the goal of his life. That goal is okay. But how much you're ready to destroy other people to get the land is the question. So Dhritarashtra means attachment to one's ambition. When your attachment to your ambitions, as long as it does not affect oneself or others negatively, is fine. The day it affects others negatively, that's when it becomes a source of pain. You having ambition is not a problem, and when your ambition is causing damage, harm, hurt, destruction to so many others, that ambition becomes the cause of pain to so many people. This is it. Let me tell you a story. The story of a man. A man went to a village. He saw a drunkard. He asked him, "How do you become like this?" He said, "I learned this from my father. My father is a drunkard, and now I am a drunkard." This man went ahead and met other people. Then he saw another person, a police officer. He asked this person, "Oh, what is your inspiration?" The policeman said, "My father is my inspiration. My father was a drunkard, a total, and I learned from my father I should never be a drunkard like him." Apparently, the both men were brothers. One son learned from the father what to do, another one what not to do. A lot of time, our lives can serve as a lesson to someone else, or it can serve as a warning to someone else. So if you don't live your life properly, your life will serve as a warning to others. And if you live your life properly, your life will serve as an example to others. Dhritarashtra taught his sons nothing but crossing the fine line of ethics. That's when the ambition becomes greed. The moment your ambition crosses the fine line of ethics, it becomes greed. Being ambitious is not a problem, but make sure it doesn't cross the line of ethics. For kids to cheat in exam and tests, it crosses the line of ethics. And that's what Kauravas did. They poisoned Bhim with the kheer and burned the Pandavas in the house of lac. And in the game of dice was such a massive destruction to the whole Kuru race. And the way they try to speak, Mamaka Pandavaschaiva, your nephews. You can't say my sons and Pandu's sons. You could have said my nephews. That tells the difference in values between this person. Right. So chapter 1 is the start of our spiritual journey. We live life trying to achieve those material goals and aspiration. Could there be a deeper purpose to life? This very doubt brings us to the start of our spiritual journey. It is the very doubt that Arjuna expresses at the onset of this sacred conversation. Mahabharata is a battle of dharma. It's not a battle between Kauravas and Pandavas per se. It is not about who wins and who loses. It is not about which cousin is powerful and which cousin is less powerful. It's only about protecting dharma and what is right. Therefore, the first chapter is very important. If everybody of us is to understand the essence of this chapter, it's about doing our duty. And Bhagavad Gita is the best teacher when it comes to help us make decisions in our life. The battle goes on within us between the mind and the heart, lower desire versus higher desire battle. It goes on, selfish versus selfishness battle. And we have to make a decision. We have to make the choice. And many times, because of our attachment to things, we make wrong choices. And then we are miserable. And Bhagavad Gita is about making the right choices in life, right decisions in life. And what is the basis? Dharma is the basis. What you are supposed to do, that is what you should do. The acronym of the first chapter is doubt. D-O-U-B-T. So how did the first chapter start? It starts with a question from the personality Dhritarashtra. He's asking a question. What did they do? To whom is he asking? He's asking Sanjaya. And whom he's talking about? He's talking about his sons and Pandu's sons. And the answer to this question is the first chapter. D. Dhritarashtra and Duryodhana. Dhritarashtra is physically blind, but both of these characters, Dhritarashtra and Duryodhana, are blinded by greed, envy, and material desire. When an individual starts to think in terms of I, me, mine, primarily interested in selfish gain, then an anxiety, frustration, and disappointment are inevitable. Despite Duryodhana's boastful words, many verses in the first chapter indicated that Kauravas will be defeated. Why? Because they are in the opposition of Krishna. And therefore Pandavas will be victorious. Even name Dhritarashtra means one who usurp or grab someone's land. And Duryodhana's name means dirty fighter. Dhritarashtra represents material motivations and Duryodhana represents material actions. Material motivation in one's mind give birth to material actions, and material actions will ultimately result in defeat, disappointment, and frustration. O. Ominous results. Despite Duryodhana's boastful words and glorifying his army, the ominous result of this confrontation is made clear from the onset. Remember, the one who stand on the side of purity and righteousness are always victorious, regardless of whether the worldly odds seem stacked against them. And if you think about it, there are 18 Akshayani Senas, armies in the battlefield. 11 were on the side of Kauravas and only 7 in the side of Pandavas. And anyone could have taken Kaurava's side because they had huge army. But, they are not righteousness. They are not the side of purity. Pandavas is the side of purity and righteousness, and they are victorious. U. Uncertainty. In these verses, Arjuna is ordering Krishna to take me between the two armies. I want to see who has come to fight with me. Arjuna wants to take time to reflect. The key learning here is life may be crammed with responsibilities and pressing issues, but attendance to such demands should not be at the expense of quality spiritual retrospection. B. Bewilderment. Arjuna is observing the entire armies of Kauravas. He sees his grandfather Bhishma, his teacher Dronacharya. He sees the contemporary of his father. He sees father-in-law. He sees brother-in-law. He sees people who are in the age of his own sons. Here Arjuna is saying, they are my relatives. How can I kill them? He's overcome by compassion, and his uncertainty intensifies and he becomes bewildered. Turning point, T. In these last verses, Arjuna is giving 4 reasons and justifying his decision to retreat from fighting. Number 1, killing all of them, I can't see any auspiciousness coming to us. If I kill all the relatives, whom I will enjoy the kingdom with? Number 3, if we kill all the relatives, sins will overcome us and we have to suffer for full lifetime after lifetime for temporary happiness of getting this kingdom. Number 4, last reason is Arjuna said the wholesale killing involved would destroy the family unit and social structure, and it will cause havoc for future generation. For, O Krishna, for these 4 reasons, let's not fight. And at the end of this chapter, Arjuna keeps his Gandhi bow down. He keeps the arrows down, completely disturbed and distressed. He sits on the chariot, indicating to Krishna, I will not fight. So in this way, we see right from the first question of Dhritarashtra, what did they do, till the last word, what did Arjuna do? He sat down saying, I will not fight. So in my next video, we will see the 2nd chapter of Bhagavad Gita. 2nd chapter is one of the most important chapters. It is titled as Gita Summarized. The clue is in the title, right? Almost the entire Bhagavad Gita is summarized in the 2nd chapter, and lots of philosophical points, logical points, and scientific points are there. And we need lots of intelligence to understand. It'll be fun. It'll be fun to study the next chapter. That's it for me. Hare Krishna, everyone.